Salutations everyone, my name is Allan Aldroid, and guys, quick, I have so much money, I just need a great game to waste it all on! I'm still looking for a great game to waste it all on!
After 11 years of Mario Kart 8, we were finally freed from the shackles of anti-gravity with the release of Mario Kart World for the Nintendo Switch 2. Such a smart move by Nintendo to release their new console with arguably their biggest pick-up-and-play franchise. I mean, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold, I don't know, more than 7 copies during its lifetime. So what better way to convince people to buy a new console than to play the next step forward in one of Nintendo's biggest hits? Well, I mean, that's probably not helping. We'll cover that later though. Mario Kart World's been out for around about 8 months now. The excitement for a new game's worn down and a boatload of updates and fixes have come our way. I think it's time to answer the biggest question nobody's had the gall to ask yet. What does Allan Aldroid think about Mario Kart World? Immediately when the game boots up for the first time, you can see that the presentation for this game is sublime. The opening shot of the highway, the music building from a harmonica, Mario driving towards the camera before exclaiming, "Mario Kart World!" Seeing him in all his glory with his brand new design and that theme kicking in. Whew, it's so good! Considering how the game we've been playing for years at this point opened up to a PNG, this immediately gets you pumped to play the game. This game overall feels a lot more brighter and colourful compared to its predecessors. Most, if not all, characters have had a slight glow up that, to me, harkens back to the N64 era of Mario designs, which ironically enough helps bring a proper next-gen feel to both the characters and the game. Mario's a lot chubbier and rounder, Peach has her N64 bangs back, Donkey Kong's redesign is gorgeous. King Boo's face looks a lot simpler, although personally Luigi's Mansion King Boo looks way cooler. Wonderful updates to a decades-old design that helps push this feeling of something new. Environments are filled with so much colour and style. Nothing feels too detailed or too simple compared to the booster course's inconsistent art style. Everything feels just right. Details such as the new onomatopoeia when explosions go off, the subtle squash and stretch when the characters jump or land, the sound design for the items just give me this lovely, warm, fuzzy feeling. Simple changes, but enough to make the game not just feel like another Mario Kart. Instead, this game feels like a spectacle. That's enough of the presentation, how about the gameplay? Well, after 11 years of anti-gravity and underwater driving, they were taken out back and shot through the cranium. This Mario Kart goes back to basics with its gameplay, now opting for just driving and gliding a la Mario Kart 7. However, there are a few new additions that make this game stand out. For starters, this game now has 24 drivers on the road, doubling the amount from 8 and making this the most jam-packed game we've had so far. And it is a lot of fun battling all these other players, especially online. Because of that, some items have been simplified / nerfed to better accommodate all these other drivers. Items that would once spin you out of control or bring you to a complete stop have now been reworked with a new physics-based spin-out system, and I really like it. Items like shells and bananas make you topple over and slow down, but you still keep a bit of momentum that pushes your kart forward. Yeah, you still get punished, hell you can still be Mario Karted heavily, but you never feel like you actively come to a standstill unless you're hit with a blue shell. I actually really like this change. It keeps the races feeling pacey and not stop-starty if you get what I mean. However, I do think some of these items have been nerfed just a bit too much. If a bullet bill crashes into you, for example, instead of spinning you out, you just teeter-totter for a bit. Yeah, it's still kind of a punishment, but all it really does is stop you from drifting for a bit. And with how most of this game is laid out, you're probably not going to notice it. The lightning shrinkage has such a fast recovery time, it's practically divine intervention if you get crushed by someone. I get that having too many chaotic items in this game would be pandemonium with 23 other people, but it's Mario Kart, it's part of the charm. It's like playing Monopoly and expecting to actually have fun. Overall, while some items have been scaled back in power, I still think this is a really fun change. Maybe a bit too safe for my liking, but I could live with it. However, what helps is the sound design for these items. Whoo, mama, sex is great and all, but have you ever crushed someone with a mega mushroom? Things like the golden mushroom's SFX speeding up as the item runs out, the shells spinning across the track, the sounds of stomping on people with the mega mushroom just really help bring the power and excitement out of the game. Even if mechanically the items are less powerful, you still feel the punch they have. This is probably, in my opinion at least, one of the best feeling Mario Karts out there. Speaking of items, what's been added and what's been kept? Well, you've got your usual suspects: green shells, red shells, bananas, bombs, and blue shells for attacking and defending yourself, mushrooms, bullet bills, and golden mushrooms for a speed boost, blooper, boo, lightning, and the star. One change made to the items that I really like is that they're automatically placed behind you, meaning you have instant protection depending on your item. However, this also works in favour of your opponents as well, since even mushrooms can be held behind you, meaning players could bump into the back of your car and get a little boost. The mushroom stuff isn't exactly going to revolutionise the gameplay of Mario Kart anytime soon, but having items go into auto defense is a really nice quality of life addition. Another little change is that boos now let you drive off-road when activated. This seems like an insignificant change, but this is a really welcome one, as this game is pretty much all about shortcuts and going off the beaten path. It's a great way of getting an impromptu leg up on the competition. Coins are back!
Yay!
Said no one ever. Fire Flower also makes an appearance alongside the Ice Flower, a fire flower, but blue. Getting hit by an ice ball causes you to spin out a little bit more and lose traction, but not gonna lie, I do not feel a difference between them at all. Other returning items from Mario Kart 8 are the Boomerang Flower and the Super Horn. They pretty much work in the same way as they did in Mario Kart 8. Now on to the new items this game has to offer. For starters, we've got the question block. Once you get this item, spam R to shower coins all over the course for yourself and other players. I mean, it works. That's the best I can really say for this item. Usually once I get it, I try to spam R as much as possible just to get rid of it. Sure, you get 10 coins, but it's far more useful for all the players around you. Same with the golden shell. Once you throw it, it automatically locks onto the middle of the course and leaves behind a trail of coins for you to pick up, knocking away any daft sod who just happens to be hogging the middle of the lane. I mean, you can pick up coins from this, but usually other players tend to get there way before I can. Once again, it's another item I try and get rid of ASAP. Because of the many coin items you can get, the coin counter now maxes out at 20 rather than 10. Yay, great. What do you want me to say about that? More coins, ooh, money. The feather. God, I love you, Feather. Yes, charge jumps are a brand new mechanic that allow you to side hop or jump onto walls and rails, but if you need to dodge incoming red shells or correct a jump, the Feather is your friend. The Feather is just so versatile and fun to use. You'll definitely get more fun out of this as a skilled player, but even using it for something as simple as helping you cross large gaps makes you feel like a god gamer every time you use it. The only downside is that the RNG can be a pain in the backside with this item. I feel like with some later patches of the game, the RNG for the Feather item's been improved massively. However, for me, it never seems to turn up when I really want it. All in the spirit of Mario Kart. Up next is the hammer. It's another meh item for me. You throw a flurry of hammers either in front or behind you, and any car that's in the way spins out for a bit. The range of this item doesn't feel long enough for me, and you use them up so quickly it's practically a sneeze of an item.
Hey guys, do you like Mario Kart Tour? Do you?
Ever wanted to see Wario as a bee? Well, now you can with the Dash Food! Find one of these golden baggies on your travels and consume them to transform into the exact same character, but with a funky outfit on them. It's a nice addition, helps with variety between different players, and is a fun collectible throughout your travels in the world. Dash Food as an item gives you a varied amount of speed depending on what food you get, but to be honest, I don't really notice a massive speed buff, plus it doesn't let you speed over off-road like a mushroom would. Either way, it's neat. Kamek, after finally securing a gig as a kartable character, has now been demoted and turned into a mild annoyance / fun gimmick. Throw his crystal ball and every racer in front of you gets hit with his magic spell, throwing an assortment of funky obstacles onto the course and changing your character into one of the many creature unlockables you can have. Oh yeah, the character roster. Once again, you've got your usual suspects: Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Donkey Kong, Bowser, Toad, Yoshi, etc. Pretty much every Mario character from the last game except for the Koopa Kids, Metal Mario, and Pink Gold Peach, to the disappointment of literally nobody. Gone are the Mii racers. Link and the villagers have been exiled from the series and replaced with what I can only describe as a bunch of Mario characters that want to spin the wheel to get into the game. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but I really couldn't care less about the inclusion of a crab or a dead fish. Cow's funny. Cow ate a burger. Cow's in jail for cannibalism. I get that you have 24 races now, so you have to expand the character roster to accommodate for this, but out of all the characters in the Mario franchise, I'd rather take the Koopa Kids back than Monty Mole. Disregarding all the uppity smuppety, oh, how can a snowman drive? He hasn't got any hands! First of all, it's fucking Mario, deal with it. Secondly, these inclusions just feel kind of like an afterthought to me. Yeah, we have cosmetics for all the mainline Mario characters, but only Koopa Troopa gets any extra skins. All of the other characters just get a speed boost. No recolors or anything, just vroom. It also doesn't help how diabolically cluttered the menu screen gets trying to sort through all the characters / costumes / creatures. In the default menu, you have your mainline Mario characters, then the onslaught of unlockables you've earned during the game, in the order that you unlock them. This looks hideous. Or you can sort by character, further assaulting your rides with all the skins you've unlocked clogging up the menus. Wouldn't it have just been easier to first of all, select your character, then go to a separate skins menu? I mean, it's fine and all having all of these creatures in the game, but I'm probably not going to play them for any more than a race or 3. It's funny to play as a cow, but I'd rather play as Luigi. And that's pretty much it for all the new items in this game. Overall, probably the most 7 out of 10 item roster you can find in Mario Kart. The additions are cool, but I personally don't find much that's exciting about it. They work for sure, but overall I don't think I'll be missing their items if they never appeared again. Instead of underwater sections, your cart now turns into a magical little boat and you can ride the waves. Personally, I really like this compared to underwater driving. Tricking off the waves is exceptionally fun, especially with how randomized it feels on stormy sea sections. It is a boatload of chaotic fun, especially on the trek from Sky High Sundae to Wario's Galleon. Pure bliss. I mean, yeah, it's slower than regular driving and your controls are a little bit slippier, but so is underwater driving. In my opinion, this is just way more fun to play. It opens up a new level of creativity to work with, especially with the stormy seas and whitewater rapids. And finally, the big one, the tricking system. Holy macaroni. This game feels so good to play. Even if the skill ceiling is pretty high, the average player will be on cloud 9 pulling a wall ride off, even if it was accidental. Tricking is made a whole lot easier in this game. If there's a slight incline, you can probably trick off of it, and the roads are littered with them. The amount of mushroom shortcuts that lead into mini rocks to fly over make each track so fun to replay and find them all. Instead of having to time your tricks now, you can just do it whenever you want and how many times as you want as long as you're in the air. While anti-gravity is gone, you're still able to ride up on walls, leading to some incredible shortcuts and saves. While it may sound difficult at first, trust me, it is so intuitive to get to grips with, especially after playing the first Grand Prix. Another addition to the Mario Kart skill book is the inclusion of rail grinding and wall riding. While not necessary to learn the ins and outs of to get fun out of the game, they're so simple to understand and they're so much fun to master. Rail grinding is probably the easier trick to master since there's so many places to practice it. They're easy enough to spot and allow for loads of experimentation, but some are just out of the way enough that you're probably not even gonna notice them even after riding around the course a few times. Pay close attention to the NPC drivers around you as they're probably the best way you can spot a new rail grinding path for you to take. The mechanic is really well integrated into a lot of courses in both obvious and hidden areas for you to explore and find. This tricking system alone is one of the best parts of Mario Kart World. It's fun. It's so fun to play. It's so fun to replay and master all of these abilities, and it alone is enough to keep me wanting to come back for more. I'm sure by now that you've seen some of the crazy tricks people have been able to do in this game, and while I'm probably never going to be able to do some of these tricks, being able to ride on walls, finding secret rails to use and fly across the map either intentionally or accidentally, feels electric. It's a mechanic that anyone can get stuck into, but it's a wonderful challenge to master. And now we've come to the main event, the reason everybody comes to Mario Kart, the tracks. And I'm not going to talk about them.
Okay, before you get your pitchforks, I am going to review this game's tracks just a little differently compared to how I would talk about any other Mario Kart game. This is the first time I've ever talked about a Mario Kart game.
Instead of talking about the tracks individually, I'm going to be talking about the Grand Prix themselves. Why, you may ask? Well, this Mario Kart has probably the most diverse mix out of all the Mario Karts. We have some amazing bangers, fan favourites, and some really creative ones that are now easily in my top 10 Mario Kart tracks of all time. It's a shame that the game doesn't like letting you play them.
Intermission tracks. Who wants to enjoy a fancy dancy 3-lap race when you can enjoy...
Yeah, probably the most controversial part of this game is its brand new gimmick. Instead of warping to the next track, what if you drove to it? After 11 years of the same Mario Kart, I can understand why Nintendo felt the need to shake the mold a bit. Yeah, you can play each track separately, but it's undeniable that Nintendo is extremely proud of this intermission gimmick. And with just over 200 of them, are they any fun to play? Oh. Sweet Jesus. The Grand Prix are what Nintendo would consider the best of the best, the cream of the crop. This is what Mario Kart World is all about. And despite this game being one of the most well-rounded Mario Karts of all time currently, it feels really empty. I'll be ranking each Grand Prix out of 10 and sorting them in a list of best to worst, in my opinion, at the end. If the universe is crying out for one more schmuck to throw his 2 cents in and rank every track in Mario Kart World, maybe I'll fold, but for now this is good enough for me, and it'll be a cold day in hell before I rank every single intermission track. Mario Kart World is back to 8 cups, with 14 of the 32 tracks returning from previous games. Up first is the Mushroom Cup, because why would you start with the Leaf Cup, you dork? Mushroom Cup is the best hidden tutorial this game could have had, slowly introducing you to all of the mechanics of this game slowly but surely, ending with a spectacle that puts what you've learnt up to the test. We start off with Mario Bros. Circuit, a wonderful track to help you get to grips with the basics of the game, complete with some sneaky little shortcuts and some rail grinding for you to experiment with. It's a really unique setting for a starter track, opting for a more Monument Valley inspired environment compared to our usual grasslands or stadiums of yesteryear. Very Wild West, and I love the Wild West, so bonus points for stroking my loves. After every track in the Grand Prix, you get to drive the highways of the Mushroom Kingdom all the way to the next track. Meaning, in the Grand Prix, you only get to play the first track in the conventional way, before being forced to play in traffic. The trek down to Crown City... it's alright. It's the first one in the game, of course they're not going to throw a billion cars at you to begin with, but after the first playthrough of it, it's really dull. You're just either going in a straight line, or turning ever so slightly that it's barely worth drifting. There's some grindy sections near and around the Crown City areas, but that's really it up until we get to the next track. Crown City is basically a figure 8 track, but it's a gorgeous one. It's so vibrantly different compared to Mario Bros. Circuit, and it helps convey a proper sense of yes, we are travelling the world. Driving on top of the buildings, grinding on these beams, paired with some really fun jumps and a final glide section, make this entire build up to this track almost worth and it's over. This is one of my biggest pet peeves with this game, the ratio of intermission to actual track, and the main reason I wanted to cover the Grand Prix instead of just the tracks. As a concept, I could get behind intermissions. For a lot of the game, the intermissions are used less like their own track and more of a build-up, a slice of what's to come, teasing you ever so subtly, and most of the time it works, but god, this time I was left wanting more. I've had sneezes longer than Crown City. Unfortunately, a big chunk of the game just feels like that. All of this build up and a loop around the track and it's back on the freeway. When it's done right, it is a beautiful extension of the track, but when it's done poorly, you feel like you're on the M25. The next track feels like night and day compared to the last one. Yes, it has a bit of driving a straight line-itis, but it is a wonderful build up back to a more western environment, introducing you to the rail grinding mechanic if you you haven't already tried it, being able to hop on and off the rails with ease. The roads actually feel like a track and not just the highway. This is fun, a really fun intermission that ends with an even better course. Whistle Stop Summit has got to be one of my favourite tracks in this game. This feels like a proper evolution in Mario Kart. The winding roads with loads of rails to grind on, the multiple paths, the music, oh, it's so good. I am left wanting more, but in a good way. This one felt endlessly replayable, but overall it was a great mix between intermission and actual racetrack. Like I said, it felt like a proper build-up, a yummy starter to the meat and potatoes that Whistle Stop Summit was. And now onto our final track, DK Spaceport. Once again, another wonderful build-up that actually felt like its own track. Tight, windy roads with enough hills and item boxes to keep it hectic before ending in a marathon drive-up, an incredible course that is dripping with creativity. Donkey Kong, but as a racetrack, genius. This track pits everything you've learned to the test and throws you into the perfect playground to show off your new moves. The footage looks great, but it does not compare to just how fun it is to drive around this track. There are so many ideas that help show off all the new mechanics of the game flawlessly, and none of them feel like that they overstay their welcome or are underbaked in this track. This is so much fun. Mushroom Cup gets a hearty 7 out of 10 from me. A perfect introduction to Mario Kart World. The good and the not so good. Next up, the Flower Cup. What did I think of Desert Hills? Dear God, I wasn't a fan of the original either, but this one, it's so boring. I genuinely do not have anything good to say about this track, so let's just go ahead and skip to the next one. Up next, Desert Hills to Shy Guy Bazaar. Fuck me, this is boring. The desert looks nice, I guess, but most of this has the same problem as the first Mushroom Cup intermission. It's very big, very straight, and very boring, which is a real disservice to Shy Guy Bazaar. The transition from to the actual track gives me friggin' whiplash. But at least it's a lot of fun. It's not one of my favourites, but all round a very good time. I wish we had a second lap so I could have more fun on this race, but that's just an issue with Mario Kart World in general. Next intermission track, despite looking quite boring, is actually kinda fun to play. Tighter roads with more sneaking past with enough rocks to mushroom trick off of, all building up to the monumental return of Wario Stadium. And oh, this is amazing! N64 Wario Stadium. It wasn't the best, but this revamp is heavenly. This track was built for the tricking system. Combined with the graphical overhaul, the spectacle, the music, this is a fun time for all. This one, I don't actually mind being one lap. If it was two, that would be perfect, but as it is, it's still great. Another gorgeous track with a build-up that doesn't overstay its welcome. Absolutely brilliant. The final intermission track is also a blast. The race starts off with a fun sewer-like area with rolling chain chomps that lead to this gorgeous bit of road. Red and blacks that fill the sky as you drive your way towards Airship Fortress. The environment is beautiful and gears you up for the finale of the Flower Cup. Nothing feels out of place or like it overstays its welcome, and Airship Fortress has been given a loving makeover, with new grind rails that I still haven't fully mastered yet. Oh, and how could I not forget the famous spiral section? Oh, it's so good. Airship Fortress's remake has been done spectacularly well, and is a fantastic way to end an unfortunately middling cup. It's another track that does work being one lap for me, but again, another go around would have been awesome. Some low lows and some good highs, but unfortunately they're too evenly split for me to enjoy all of it. 6 out of 10 for me. Onto the Star Cup now, starting off with DK Pass. I really like this one. A great contrast from the more sandy and industrial look of the previous cup. I don't really have much more to say, this is a great start. Time to drive to Starview Peak. This is definitely one of the more fun intermissions, doesn't outstay its welcome, pretty engaging, and a gorgeous build up to Starview Peak. Starview Peak is boring and it feels like an intermission. Actually, I'm gonna say something controversial. The intermission is somehow more fun than the actual track. It's over before it gets to do anything interesting, the water section's so wide and boring, this entire track feels like a waste of a theming. Can Rosalina finally get a good Mario Kart track? Please. The track is so boring that the next intermission to Sky High Sunday feels more like a racetrack than Stardew Peak ever did. Another great intermission that builds perfectly to another great track. Sky High Sunday is so flipping fun in this game, branching past a lot of rail grinding and dazzling visuals. It's a shame it's over way too soon, but otherwise it's a really fun time. Finally, Wario's Galleon, one of the absolute best intermission tracks that lead to one of my favourite tracks in this game. The stormy seas are so fun to ride across with all of the waves to trick and fly off of. It doesn't outstay its welcome and it perfectly builds into a wonderful reinterpretation of Wario's Galleon. Personally, I don't really mind that this has been reworked to fit this game's mechanics, definitely much better than some other tracks. The eerie greeny blue hues with this kick-ass music, it is beautiful. Again, I just wish it was one more go around the track, but otherwise it is an incredible end to a really fun cup. Overall, a well-earned 8 out of 10. Nearly perfect, except for the stain that is Stardew Peak. On to the Shell Cup now, starting off with Koopa Troopa Beach. Fuck me, this is boring. What can I say about this place? The music's good. That's it. I like beach levels, I like beach tracks. They look nice, they can be a fun setting to drive around, but oh my god, 5 laps? I get that's how many laps there were in Super Mario Kart, but holy moly, I'm bored. I got so bored that I completely forgot there was 1 extra lap, so I veered off into the distance thinking it was over. This one is just really boring. I don't mind circle tracks, I love Baby Park after all, but there's absolutely nothing going on here. Next. Intermission to Faraway Oasis. Fuck me, this is boring. If Wario's Galleon is the cream of the crop for water sections, this is the boring uncle you don't speak to at Christmas. When the water's still, it's like you're driving in treacle. It's over quickly at least, but the rest of the track is so dull. The only build-up you get is that there's some animals on the track, but the road is so wide you could be facing away from your TV and still not hit any of them. Faraway Oasis is incredibly fun, but it's over before you can even feel the joy re-enter your heart. Next up. Oh my god. However, despite it being a straight line, this is fun! And that is all thanks to a bridge. The bridge is genuinely one of my favourite set pieces in the entire game. This is what intermission tracks should be, a Mario Kart twist on something otherwise mundane. 4 lanes of traffic to weave through with barrels to shoot you forward, rails to grind, lorries to trick off of. It's so fun, all leading back to Crown City? Yes, despite this game having 8 cups of 32 tracks, Crown City and Peach Stadium are on here twice. Luckily, neither version of Crown City feels incomplete because of it. Maybe the Mushroom Cup one does feel a little bit unfinished, but it's still a great time. Same here. Driving through the rundown streets, jumping over buildings reeks of creativity and stylistic flair. It's just a shame it's over far too soon. Again. I could race around here for hours. This track, both intermission and actual course, are so fun. So, after that, I wonder what the next course has in store. Fuck me, this is boring. Boring build-up, boring level design, boring course. God, this one drags. It's just really boring. And the actual track, have you seen a paperclip? That's not a paperclip, that's Peach Stadium! What part of the stadium is this? The parking? Boring start, boring middle, boring end, with just a glimmer of hope sprinkled in to stop me from shooting myself in the leg. 4 out of 10. Banana Cup now. Hopefully Peach Beach can cure my boredom. Okay, that's doing this track a bit of a disservice. Peach Beach is fun for the first few times around. Lovely recreation of the track for lap 1 before opening up to more rooftop parkour and rail grinding, but then it ends with one of the most boring water sections of the game. It's so slow and tedious and probably one of the main reasons people don't like this new mechanic. Yes, it's a nice addition to the game, but when it's so creatively bankrupt like this, it's so miserable to play. If the Faraway Oasis water section was the boring uncle you don't talk to, Peach Beach lap 3 is the pair of socks you got as a present from them. Next, another beachy intermission that's just alright, nothing special, doesn't overstay its welcome. Salty Speedway's great, but it's over before I can appreciate how good it is. Another straight line intermission. Oh my god, we're halfway through this Grand Prix and I'm falling asleep again. It's got some fun areas, I like driving on top of the waterfall here, but otherwise another forgettable and bloated starter to an amazing, albeit tiny main course. On to Great Question Block Ruins. First of all, what the heck is that title? Second of all, this one is a better intermission track. Doesn't overstay its welcome, moderately engaging, great build up to the heavenly track that is Great Question Block Ruins. This one is begging for you to go round it over and over and over. There is so much on offer here, so much to do and experiment with, and while one lap is just alright, to fully enjoy it, you really need to play it the traditional 3-lap way. Overall, this cup gets a solid 6 out of 10. The ending is what saves it for me. Leaf Cup starts off with cheap falls. Oh, yeah, that's the stuff. It's so good. It's so flipping good. Yeah, that's it. Give me more. I like this. Yummy. Intermission track to Dandelion Depths. Oh, yeah, give me more. This is so yummy. Yummy. It's so good. One of the best intermission tracks in the game. It's so fun. Short, sweet, genuinely fun, and a great build up to another terrific course that actually feels complete with one lap. The visuals, the layout, the spectacle that is Dandelion Depths. Oh, I am enjoying this meal for sure. Surely nothing in the world can study this gorgeous fine dining experience. This one's alright. In any other cup it would be great, but it's hard to follow up the amazing meals that were Cheap Falls and Dandelion Depths. It dragged a little, but it's still fun and engaging.
So, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited for this next track. I think it's gonna be Boo Cinema.
I'm glad this is only one lap, so it's over quicker. On to the final track, and while the intermission is pretty long compared to the others, this one is actually quite enjoyable. Tight roads with sharp turns, great set pieces, and a really fun time that unfortunately dragged just a bit too long in my opinion. Dry Bones Burnout is incredible. I love the theming for this one. It's gorgeous, taking inspirations from the Day of the Dead festival and with so many branching paths to explore and beckon you back to hone your skills. Sadly, the pie's undercooked and over before you can get into it. Another great cup that unfortunately stumbles near the middle. 8 out of 10. Lightning Cup is up next with Moo Moo Meadows. It's Moo Moo Meadows, what else is there to say? Good course, but we've already had it back in Mario Kart 8, so I'm a bit confused as to why it's back again, but I'm okay with it. Back to another intermission track and boring. Choco Mountain is quite fun actually. It's been redesigned to have more of a dirt rally track feel instead of an actual chocolate mountain, which makes more sense. It feels more Mario than the original, and while N64 Choco Mountain was good in itself, it's got a face only a mother would love, dearie me. The next track is another one that has way too much intermission to track ratio. It's serviceable at least, it's not mind-numbingly boring. Look, you can go down here or up there. Toad's Factory is one of the golden children of retro tracks in the entire series. The way it's been revamped to work with the new grind rails and wall riding to find brand new shortcuts are amazing, especially with the hint of the coins going up the wall to guide the player up. It's practically heresy to not play this as a 3-lap race. 1 lap is not enough, and while it's a perfect track, it's not enough to satisfy my hunger here. The final race, however, now this is one that satisfies my hunger. Sure, this little ring area isn't the best, but oh my god, this is a fantastic track. The music, the build-up from the industrial aesthetic to the red and black of Bowser's castle. It's short, sweet, engaging, and finishes off with a fantastic rendition of Bowser's castle. Potentially one of my favourites in the entire series. Toad's Factory may be the gold standard for retro tracks, but this entire pie is the platinum standard for all of Mario Kart World. A perfect build-up, perfect track. Bowser's castle in this game is so damn good. Once again, another track inviting you back for more. It's a beautiful blend of tight turns with so many branching paths for you to experiment with. This track is replayable to death. This area where you're jetting off into the sky, just, oh, it's so good. The lightning and meteor strikes, it's so chaotically gorgeous. This is a premium pie of a track. All expenses paid for, delicious. Unfortunately, it's another middle-of-the-road cup for me. I like Moo Moo Meadows, I love Toad's Factory, I adore Bowser's Castle, but this lasagna is filled with too much bland sauce for the layers to stand out in its own right. Weak intermission sauce, cheap chocolate mounted veggies, and while I like it, Moo Moo Meadows has slightly overripened with just how much rep it's gotten. 6.5 out of 10. And now, finally, the special cup. The creme de la creme, the last cup of the game. Within these walls lies some of the best, hardest, perfectly optimized tracks to test your skills that you've built up over the runtime of this game. It is all leading to this trial by fire. Show me what you got! Acorn Heights is really calming and pretty, and I like it. I love the design of this track, so much to explore, so many paths to take. I like how the track guides you towards all these alternate paths, although I'm a bit confused as to why this track is placed here on the cups. I'm not saying that the final cup stages need to be themed as dangerous or difficult, nor am I saying that I don't like it. I really like this track. It's a perfect track to showcase all of the cool new features this game has to offer. And while it's a great track to showcase everything that you've learned, maybe it could have done better as a track in an earlier cup. I could be wrong, it's still a great time. Intermission 1 now, and God, we're back to the long and boring ones. Not much variety on offer here, unfortunately. A lot of it just feels like going forwards on long, straight tracks, with some jumps to trick you into thinking that this is high-octane gaming. But it just feels slow. Really slow. However, Mario Circuit makes up for that in spades. Combining Mario Circuits 1, 2, and 3 from Super Mario Kart was an ingenious idea, and racing around this mashup is a blast. Luckily, this is a track that you actually do get to experience from start to end, and you're left satisfied with your meal. Huh, almost as if going around the track once is really boring and unfulfilling. I'm actually really surprised at how well these tracks all fit together. And it works so well. Each section has the perfect amount of time to breathe. It is a perfect classic Mario Kart track. There's not really anywhere for the new gimmicks to shine in this track, but it's perfect enough without having an arbitrary rail stuck somewhere. This could have easily ended up as a chaotic, miserable soup, but it ended up being one of the best love letters to SNES tracks ever. Side note slander for Mario Circuit, but every single time they're brought back, they're either it's okay, or putrid. Disregarding if you think the tracks are well designed or not, Mario Kart 3 on the Wii looks filthy and I despise it. Ew, it looks so retro! I don't care. These do not go well with pixel art backgrounds and it looks ugly. And if it's ugly, I don't like it. Yes, I'm an incredibly shallow man when it comes to how I like my SNES retro tracks in Mario Kart. What are you gonna do about it? The drive to Peach Stadium 2 is a long but otherwise pleasant experience. It does overstay its welcome a bit, but this intermission track has so much packed into it with the constant shifting environments to the tight roads with aerial sections that it doesn't make it feel boring on your first playthrough. It's only after playing it a few times that you do actually feel the length. Peach Stadium 2, or to put it in a better way, Peach Stadium, is an incredibly fun and well-designed course that it feels like it takes some inspiration from Mario Circuit from Mario Kart 8. Incredibly tight winding roads with some great areas to bring your drifting A-game. It's a welcoming change compared to the paperclip that was the first rendition of Peach Stadium. So much so that if you were to play this course in versus mode, the disappointing sandwich that is Peach Stadium 1 is nowhere to be seen. Thank Christ. Another well-prepared meal of a track with an appetizing, albeit a bit too filling starter. One lap round is greatly serviceable for this track, but then again, I wouldn't mind another go around. And now, the finale, Rainbow Road. The intermission for this is incredibly basic, but short and is filled with a building sense of atmosphere as you glide down to the waters surrounding Peach's castle, with your goal in the distance beckoning you to the final track of the game. The music swells gradually as you reach the Rainbow Gateway and hit that ramp that catapults you into the ride of your life above the clouds of the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario Kart World's Rainbow Road. it's alright. For starters, it is massive and varied to Kingdom Come with so many scrumptious sections to dig your teeth into. The atmosphere is astronomical, the music, the colours, it's so vibrant and pretty. I really love how the water sections of this track looks, with Toads and Lumas watching on. It's so good. This is just another intermission track on Rainbow steroids. Don't get me wrong, it's a great Rainbow Road to end Mario Kart World. But it's not a great Rainbow Road. It's a good one, I like it, not one I'm absolutely dying to play again though. It once again suffers with the massive road issue where it feels like you're not going to get impacted by any of the 23 other races on the track. And it's also kinda easy. Not any more difficult than any other track in the game, and Spectacle can only get you so far without making the player bored. Trust me, you're definitely not going to get bored on your first playthrough. The wow factor is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I adore the flying train with all the main players like Mecha DK, the Dinosaur, Toads and more. But the replay factor is barely there for me. A gorgeous ending track to a game, and it's a fun marathon, but it's outbeaten by so many other tracks by them actually being tracks. I also really don't like this section of the space station. We've had all these sparkling colours for the entire track and now we're surrounded by grey and brown. It looks boring. I don't know what it is, but I just inexplicably hate this part. A lot of style, a lot of flair, but just not a lot of meat on the bone. And with that, the final ranking of the Special Cup is a solid 7 out of 10. Lots of goods, some bad, but overall the most perfect 7 out of 10 cup I ever set eyes upon. This is why I wanted to highlight the Grand Prix, as this is what Nintendo showed off proudly as the new take on Mario Kart. This is the best of the best. This is what will get people coming back to Mario Kart World, but it's not what makes people come back to Mario Kart. Everything is here to make this potentially one of the best Mario Karts of all time. The chaos of 24 races, the wonderful variety of courses. Yes, some of them aren't great, but that's with every Mario Kart game. You need some less than stellar ones to make the best of the best stand out more. For every Boo Cinema, there are 20 Whistle Stop Summits ready to blow you away each time. A more streamlined experience that anyone can pick up, with a difficulty ceiling that's so tantalizing to hook you into it and fully explore every track's possibilities. But the gimmick of driving virtually anywhere kinda takes over all of that. Additional things that they've brought into the game is the inclusion of free roam with the ability to drive anywhere and everywhere. Loads of secrets to find around the world with P-switches as a fun additional challenge mode if you want to play that. While I'm happy it's here, this kind of stuff just really isn't for me. I'm not a challenge mode kind of guy, and the concept of having to look for them also really doesn't do it for me. I just like the racing more. It's fun to drive around the world, and I'm sure there's loads of games you can play with your friends, like a hide and seek or something, but by yourself I don't really get much fun out of free roam. It's no secret that Nintendo are very proud of this new gimmick to Mario Kart, and while it's fun to experience it for the first time or two, it's always going to pale in comparison to just regular Mario Kart. I think the really long gap between 8 and World also didn't help. I get it, you're gone for a while, people are screaming for your glorious return, and I genuinely think that the intermissions have the potential to be a whole boatload of fun, but again, it's not what people want out of Mario Kart. Nintendo was so proud of the gimmick that when the game launched and people decided to play some online matches, a lot of the choices people were met with were these intermission tracks. Sometimes there would have been an option to do a traditional 3-lap race, but most of the time it was one of the near 200 possible intermissions you'll be driving on, and oh boy, some of these intermissions, Jesus Christ.
Hey everyone, my name's Allan Aldroid and I actually helped design some of the courses for Mario Kart World. That's real, don't look it up. And today I'm going to show you how we designed the intermission tracks for the game. So what you want to do is you want to start off with a straight line like this, and there we go, happy driving.
Remember earlier on when I was praising the potential creativity you can get out of the new water driving mechanics? Remember how I said that some tracks make it really dull? If you aren't a fan of water driving, stay away from intermissions, you might be gouging your eyes out. Of course, people found a way around it. By selecting random, the game would spit out an actual lap track for you to play, because let's face it, I'd rather go round Starview Peak than drift into oncoming traffic. Was it convenient? No, but it was the best we had until the fabled... Nintendo was so proud of this revolutionary concept that for a time, even selecting random would bring you back to the intermission tracks. It wasn't 100% of the time, but it was enough to get people quite upset, and reasonably so. As I said before, this game has some of the best track designs of all time. One of the most mechanically in-depth Mario Karts that had both speedrunners and casual players salivating at the thought of improving their skills, but instead of letting them do all that, you stick them on their morning commute to work. Why? What is it about intermission tracks that you're so proud of? Drive virtually everywhere? I mean, it's a cool feature to drive to the next track, and while I did like a number of the Grand Prix ones, there's no way that the 200 intermission tracks are going to hold up to that standard. And they don't! Forget sneezing a design, could you at least put another corner somewhere? I am so sure Nintendo have the stats on who prefers to play what, or at the very least seen the thousands of players who picked random instead of intermissions, so why double down? It's such an easy fix if you think about it. All you had to do was separate the modes. You've already done it in the menu for versus mode, so why not have it be the same for online? Actually, I've got another bone to pick with the design of this game. The menu design. Call me old, call me lame, I don't care. The menu design is the most annoying way to select a course you want. At the very least, you could have put the names on the menu so I don't have to hover over each one to see if I found the one I want to play. The cursor is so slow as well, it's such a troll. Just for the love of everything that is holy, give me a list, please. What's wrong with a Nintendo to push the intermissions this heavily? Again, splitting the modes off in a menu system would make this so much easier. Best of both worlds. People can enjoy regular Mario Kart, and the 7 other people who like to drive on the highway can do that too. Or is Nintendo too scared to see what happens if they did separate it? Is Nintendo too scared to see that more people would prefer to play traditional Mario Kart? Because even after they fixed the online, I can barely find a full lobby. On the multiple days I played to try and get footage, only once or twice was the lobby even serviceably full. And this game is not designed to be played with 7 people. Currently, online is probably the best we've had it. When you queue in to select a course, you have the option for 2 interconnected tracks or race a single 3-lap race. Sure, no one barely picked intermissions, but this is still gonna be the best it's probably gonna be for a while. But I don't think it's enough to bring people back, which really sucks. There's so much I love about this game, and it sucks to see this one little thing be a thorn in its side. Intermission tracks can be fun and interesting, but they're often over way too damn quickly. 3 minutes is not enough for anything new to stick in my opinion. Most of the time it just ends and there's not enough meat on the bone to sink your teeth into. Honestly, if they really wanted to make this new gimmick work, why not have some kind of massive race that fully utilized this new mechanic? A massive 10-minute long race where you're constantly fighting tooth and nail. A race that requires so much more strategy than just a regular race of Mario Kart. A tour, if you will. A knockout tour. Knockout Tour is so fun and I love it, and it's genuinely my main reason to continue playing Mario Kart World. Every issue I have with this game is fixed by Knockout Tour. Intermissions feel long and boring? Fixed. Items don't have as much of a punch as previous games? You'll be thanking every deity you can think of that being hit by a red shell doesn't kill all your speed. Every speed boost, every attack, every defense can mean life or death in this mode. It's fast, it's tense, it's toe curling, and I adore it. This is using the gimmick of open world driving to the fullest. Every sneaky mushroom shortcut you can get your hands on could balance the race in your favour. Any extra path could mean safety from your fellow drivers. There is a much grander level of high risk, high reward at play here. What if you take a shortcut off-road but get struck by lightning or hit by a shell? What if you play it safe but get overtaken by half the pack? All of this culminates together into the saving grace that is Knockout Tour. Knockout Tour, for those who don't know, is the closest we'll ever get to a Mario Kart Battle Royale. Players race in a tense marathon to not be in the bottom 4 by the time they reach the checkpoint, otherwise they're disqualified. And it's perfect. Regular Mario Kart, I can't find a full lobby half the time. Here, it's practically always full, and for a great reason. Who wouldn't want to play Knockout Tour? There is so much potential in this mode. Nintendo can easily create more Knockout Tours in future updates, or even let players make custom tours. That would be amazing. Even the ability to make custom Grand Prix would be amazing to share with people around the world. Knockout Tour has so much potential, and it's so much fun. I love how tense it is to race across the line, sometimes not even knowing if you'll make it. The strategies you have on standby. Do you try to go for first, knowing a flurry of items can ruin your run? Or stay in the pack and deal with potentially being Mario Karted by everyone in their nan? This mode is to die for. But is it worth your wallet? I wanted to hold out on my review of Mario Kart World to let the game simmer in the back of my mind. The game is a blast and I really like it, but I didn't want to review something immediately and let the rose-tinted glasses sully my palate. It's new, it's great, it's pretty, but is it a good game? Yes, but it also falls flat in a lot of other places. The new mechanics are wonderful to play around with, but half the game is spent not even using them. Intermissions can be fun, but with near 200 potential tracks, not all of them are going to be fun. Time trials are astronomically fun with the new wall riding and rail grinding mechanics, but the menus are so annoying to troll through to get to anything. It's a good game for sure, but I can't fathom buying it at full price. The biggest controversy surrounding this game wasn't the intermissions, it wasn't the 1.1.2 update, it was when the retail price was finally unveiled as $80. Here in the UK the price is better, digital is only £67, bollocks to buying the physical version at £75, but even then, the official Nintendo prices are just not worth it at all. It definitely sullied my palate seeing how much they were asking for Mario Kart out of all of their franchises. DK Bonanza, their big 3D platformer for 2025, released a month after launch at £60 digital, $67 physical, and that's not even talking about the other places you can get it for way cheaper. But how is Donkey Kong Bonanza cheaper than Mario Kart? It's bloody Mario Kart! I'm not saying that a lower price would have ended up saving the game, but at the very least it wouldn't have stung as much. If you want my honest opinion, buy the game on sale if you can. It's fun, but I can't think of any game that's $80 worth of fun. If you're buying a Switch 2, get the bundle. It's probably the best value for money, especially outside of the US in my opinion. I would still recommend trying it out, as it is still very fun, but maybe after a full year of the game being out, maybe some more additional improvements will be made in a future update. Nintendo do seem like they're trying to fix their mistake after the abysmal 1.1.2 update, so who knows? Maybe this review will be obsolete in half its qualms, and I'll return to talk about what's been fixed or f***ed over, but until then, save your money for something else. I feel like I'm missing something though, something I've completely forgotten to talk about. Oh, that's right, battle mode! I have never cared for battle mode.